Welcome back to round two here at Guardian Games and Portland Paper Streaming. I'm Curran Delahanty, joined by Ian Lunger, and we are here for Paradoxical Urza versus Amulet Titan. Round two. Fight.
So, Curran, do you have a favorite as far as this matchup is concerned? Do you have any kind of preference you think either deck has kind
Man,
of an advantage
this
here?
is a matchup I'm not 100% sure about just because I know Amulet Titan somewhat because I have a friend who plays quite a bit of it. But when it comes to this Paradoxical Urza deck, I just don't know. I generally think Urza strategies are kind of like 55% against most of the field. And that's based on how good you are as a pilot, like seeing those lines that are pretty narrow. But Amulet Titan is explosive, and it definitely like at least checks you for like a turn four kill or something like that. Like can you prevent this? So I think it'll be an interesting match. I don't have a favorite. What about
So
you?
I think one thing that Colton has in his favor here is a number of the Urza decks recently have been running quite a few damping spheres in the sideboard and sometimes even in the main. And Damping Sphere is a house against this Amulet Titan deck.
Oh yeah.
But Paradoxical Urza is actually looking to play a lot of spells, a lot of zero mana spells in a turn, so is less likely to be playing a card like Damping Sphere. So I do think that can play to Colton's advantage here. And Amulet Titan is such a fast deck that I think it's very dependent on kind of what Colton's start looks like. If we actually have an Amulet start here, okay, no Amulet start. So maybe Colton's looking at, I think without an Amulet, oftentimes it's something like a turn 3 to 4 Titan. Urchin is actually gone this week for holiday related things.
Yeah, unfortunately she couldn't join us
She will
tonight.
be back, but you're stuck with us for now. And yeah, unfortunately, yeah, or Urchin missing the Paradoxical Urza on stream, which is a deck that she did a lot of work in designing.
Yeah, definitely. That's
But
well, hopefully she'll be able to catch the tape anyway.
hmm so Jackson playing an Emery Lurker of the Lock, and that's not really what you want to see for your mill. Two Paradoxical outcomes and an Oko.
Yeah, definitely not ideal. An artifact would have been nice, but that is not the life we're living currently.
Yeah, and Jackson does not have any more lands in hand, too. So sitting on an Urza, another Emery, I imagine we'll see Jackson crack this bauble at the end of Colton's turn.
Hmm.
Definitely needs to hit 4 lands, and of course, if Jackson can find a fetch when they have 3 islands in play, they will be able to fetch up a Mystic Sanctuary and put the Paradoxical outcome on top of the deck to actually kind of recycle the ones that they've tossed. Okay,
All right.
does manage to hit the land. I imagine we'll see Emery activating here to replay this bauble, look a little bit deeper in the deck.
We're just going for the straight blowout right now, though.
Yeah, this is really, really good on Jackson's side. Engineered explosives for one, and immediate explosion of it, which will get both the Tribe Scout and the Amulet before any values gained from that Amulet. I love the old art from Engineered Explosives, the fifth
Oh
on art. I think it's
yeah.
gorgeous.
It's such cool art. Just like all the are those like caskets almost?
Let's take a look.
Man, so much fun to look at. Also makes me really feel the sunburst flavor, like more than other cards that have sunburst.
Yeah, it's kind of insane. So first, let's take a look at the alternate art, which is this is not to me. It's not very like. There's no color in this art, which is
No,
kind of strange
I kind of like the
considering.
flying mirror corpse off to the right, but that's about
Yeah,
it. Like,
but then juxtapose that uh with the fifth dawn art,
oh my
which is
gosh.
it just like it's insane. It's awesome, but it's insane.
I, and like like the elephant faces or whatever that is like going on. I just love it.
So it looks like Colton did find another amulet, um, but I believe missed a land drop. So hard to see Colton's hand. I wonder if they are sitting on a bounce. A, it looks like they do. Okay, so there's at least one bounce land in Colton's hand.
Hmm.
Um, maybe hoping to hit that, to keep that in hand, hit another land, and then use the bounce land to accelerate out to 6.
Engineered back on one, just shutting that whole idea down. Unfortunate.
Yeah, it's a tough way to go uh, because of the fact that Emery can loop that.
Basically anything, any
Yeah,
artifact in the art anyway.
the explosives. I wonder if it would have been more prudent for Colton to just wait to play the amulet, as if Colton had played the amulet this turn and then also played Azusa, we would have maybe been able to just ramp into the Titan and then get haste, because what's going to happen now is Colton's not going to be able to give his uh, Primeval Titan haste. And that's really what allows this Amulet Titan deck to accelerate kind of past the mid game immediately into the late game and close out the game quickly.
Bet right down for 3.
I think this is maybe a mistake that I do see people fall into at times against this Amulet Titan deck.
Hmm.
It's possible that Jackson has nothing else to do with their mana this turn, and just wants to put something on the board. However, Azusa, especially without an Amulet in play, and after the Amulet Titan player has already gotten value out of it, is actually not a very useful creature, and so I see people sell out to kill it oftentimes as an Amulet Titan player, and I'm usually very happy to see them sell out to kill it when I've gotten most of the value that I need out of it already.
Had the backup Emery to let that go. And just tons of targets now. What we got? Astrolabe. We got another Bobble, a Mox Opal. All right. Well, Titan comes down though.
Yeah, so we see Titan. There's no way for Colton to give this Titan haste this turn, so I imagine what we'll see. Okay, interesting. I thought we might see Teleria West in a bounce land, but it looks like Colton is maybe has another Titan in hand already, and so is actually just
Ooh.
looking to get the Field of the Dead engine going and just kind of accelerate past Jackson here, and Bog, obviously a fantastic card to kind of cut off the access that Jackson is abusing.
Yeah, that bog was pretty cool there. I had kind of forgotten that that was an option in Modern. I'm more of a Legacy player. I deal with bog in that format all the time, but I kind of forget that, like, yeah, a deck playing Primeval Titan playing bog makes total sense.
Yeah, no crop rotation in Modern, but you can pay 6 mana and get a 6/6 crop rotation with no
Yeah,
with no downside if you want.
yeah, just ultra main phase sorcery speed.
Yeah, so and as far as utility lands, Colton's probably playing one Field of the Dead main, one Pajuka Bog. Some people are off the Colony Garden, which makes a little plant token, and they're usually playing at least one of the life gain lands, either Radiant Fountain or Kabira Crossroads.
Yeah, I've played a little. I've played against Amulet Titan a couple of times, and yeah, it's just really. I've seen the Radiant Fountain. I've seen like the Field of the Dead. I've seen like a lot of those utility lands, but as an aggro player, I never see Bog come out of Amulet Titan. So yeah,
It's fair. Yeah, they're probably boarding it out against you.
yeah, they're like this card is
So
garbage.
Jackson's going to toss down a Saheeli. This card is great at gumming up the ground against non-trampling threats. Um,
Yeah, but Primeval Titan having trample pretty relevant.
yep.
Oh, there's a Mox Ember. Is that what that is? Ugh. my card
Yeah,
knowledge.
it looks like a amber there.
Amber, yeah.
So this is Saheeli. So
Oh yeah.
Jackson will be able to put together a decent board presence here, and if they can get this Karnstruct token to big enough to profitably block the Titan, okay, interesting. We're actually just gonna threaten Colton's life total here, and if I'm Colton, I'm definitely taking this if that construct is anywhere near the size of my Titan. Um, Titan is kind of everything in this deck, and it's almost always correct unless you're actually just going to die to keep the Titan around.
Making another construct.
So this looks really good on the surface. However, all of these constructs die to an engineered explosives on 0. And Amulet Titan is playing engineered explosives. So Colton will be able to search here. He should be able to cast the Titan with the lands from last turn, play the engineered explosives on 0, and or okay, we've got to transmute here. So it looks like we're short 2 mana total to do this.
Oh jeez. Pretty close, but
Yeah. Yeah,
I mean
so
Colton's at 6, so I think the constructs are gonna have to be priority number 1 then, and he's probably just gonna have to go on the deep transmute line.
alternatively, we can maybe survive for a turn by getting a few different land types and just using Field of the Dead tokens to block the large constructs, and then sweep the board the following turn. You're not going to be able to count on your prime time here because Jackson should be able to the recur the spell bomb.
So it looks like the
Looks like
option was just to fill up on Field of the Dead tokens, then it looks
yeah,
like that seems to be the route.
one T West from hand, which triggered Field of the Dead for the first time. Colton's probably deciding here. Yeah, what are we looking for? I imagine we'll see a bounce land and maybe something like it looks like Radiant Fountain Palm to the front on Colton's side. So gain some life, possibly bounce that T West back to hand to set up for transmuting next turn. I could see being possible. Colton may also feel safe enough that they could see getting I don't know, possibly like a Boros Garrison or Slayer Stronghold and kind of get set up to haste out the Titan the following turn.
Gruul Turf and Vesuva. That is an altar of some sort. I want to know what that says.
Yeah, and
Is that a no
oh,
turf?
it's the
Yeah.
no turfs, and yeah.
Very, very, very cool.
Um,
I like it.
and the Vesuva copied Field of the Dead, I believe. So Colton able to get four more triggers there. So looking at 5 zombies, a Titan, and a Rex Sage. Pretty powerful board unless Jackson's able to really kind of start up that engine. I'm not sure if the Paradoxical Urza deck is playing an infinite combo. Chat, if anybody knows if this version still plays the Thopter Sword part of things, or if it's just trying to kind of outvalue the opponent with Paradoxical.
Ah, man, I just could not imagine leaving out Thopter Sword in an Urza deck, but that's surprising that that's a choice they have to make these days. Most of the time, no. Yeah. We had a pretty immediate answer there, it looks like.
Okay.
Alright. So, no Thopter Sword.
And Jackson looking at an Urza in hand, and I want to
I
say...
did walk by Jackson earlier in round 1, and I did see Nexus of Fate, so I assume that's the plan.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, he was actually playing against Dustin, which is why I paid attention.
Okay. Yeah, once this Amulet Titan gets the Titan out and starts rolling, it's extremely hard to stop in the late game. And I think secretly one of the best, I think there's been a lot of focus on Once Upon a Time as a very good printing for this deck. And while I agree like consistency is extremely underrated and very good for the deck, Field of the Dead has really been kind of what pushed the deck over the top for having just an absolutely insane late game.
Oh yeah.
Uh, you used to be able to get run out of threats fairly easily, and you would run out of blockers. Like there were ways for people to get around you in the late game. Control decks could maybe like just deal with all your threats, and that's just gone, and for so little cost. Like just playing a one of and sometimes one in the sideboard of a land that's like, yeah, colorless is not awesome for this deck that's like somewhat color hungry, but just the drawbacks just aren't even there.
Absolutely.
It synergizes so well with Amulet Titan wanting to play a lot of lands with different names.
Yeah, it just happened to kind of fit something that was already together. Like it just slid into a position where it was like, okay, like you guys remember Valakut? Well, this works for the Amulet Titan deck. So
Well, and I think even before Green started getting just bonkers printings as of late, Amulet Titan was a deck to be reckoned with, and I think was kind of underappreciated for how good it was. And now that Green has just kind of gotten this like plethora of amazing printings in Once Upon a Time, in Field of the Dead, even though I know that's like not technically a green card, and in Veil of Summer, it's just like it's just like exploded in how strong it is.
oh man, 5 mana Mox Opal. Big fan. Big fan of that play. Overpay for the Mox Opal, you villain.
I mean, again, we're getting a lot of tokens down here, but I really think if I'm on Colton's side, I just toss all these zombies. These zombies are so easy to just throw away and get more of. I just toss them in front of whatever I need to keep my life total high, grab that engineered explosives, blow up everything on zero on Jackson's side, and then get in there with the Titan, make more blockers, and start to clock Jackson. I think should be able to put Jackson on a fairly simple two-turn clock here. And I think, yeah, Jackson kind of spun the wheel a couple times, hit some not very impactful targets. I believe we hit like an engineered explosives and a Mox Opal, which
5 mana Mox Opal.
it's the cost of like Urza's activated ability is extremely powerful, and that is one of kind of the like big draws to this card. However, if you're trying to do something like take advantage of paradoxical outcome, there's some inherent dyssynergy there in activating Urza's ability.
Well, here comes that Alpha Strike, and we're gonna make 2 more zombies on the way down. Or actually, sorry, it's four
Yeah, it
more
looks like
zombies
we're
because of
getting
Vesuva. Forgot.
Boris Garrison and a Sunhome, Fortress of the Legion. So let's bring up Sunhome. Sunhome won't be relevant on this attack.
But
However,
later.
yes.
Yeah, so 4 more zombies coming down to block. That is actually true by tournament standards, that Gruul Turf is illegal for crossing out the card name. However, this is Modern Monday. I don't think we're stressed about it. I don't think anybody's stressed about it.
Nah, we ain't worried her.
But yeah, if this were a pre-T trial or GP or whatever have you, I don't know. Yeah, we would definitely say so.
Yeah, so Sunhome going to be extremely helpful for Colton pushing through damage next turn.
Oh yeah. Double Strike is such a powerful ability, especially when you combine it with Trample.
Yep.
Nobody likes doing that math. We're in a jam spot here too. Looks like Jackson's gonna go to 1.
Wow.
So that happened.
I guess I guess I could see Jackson just feeling like this game's slipping away a little bit, and if they're unable to do some serious work slash potentially close out this game next turn on the crackback, the life total is not really going to matter, and I actually think I can get behind that on Jackson's side.
Yeah, definitely.
I'm even a little surprised that Colton decided to serve with everything.
I'm not. He made 4 more zombies and Azusa now, and now he's transmuting. Summoner's Pact is grabbing Primeval Titan.
Did we not see Urza block the Rex Sage? I think we just let the Rex Sage through. I wonder what Jackson was playing around there. To me, maybe Jackson blocked one of the zombies
There's the
with
fountain.
Urza. So we're gonna see 2 more lands here.
4 more zombies. Going
Yeah.
up to 8.
4 more zombies and a bounce trigger. I
Probably bounce.
don't believe we've played land for turn, so we can bounce Radiant Fountain and then
Gain even
replay it.
more life. Yeah.
Gain 2 more life, get 2 more zombies. But it looks like Colton's going to pick up a bounce land. And with 2 extra land drops with Azusa, we can just replay and bounce that land.
And make more zombies.
Yeah,
Yay!
so 6 more zombies available if Colton wants to just kind of cash out all of their land drops for the turn. It's just bonkers. Like, you think this Paradoxical Urza deck has a lot of value, and then you watch Amulet Titan just hit that late game
This is
point
so
where
cool.
it's just
Yeah.
rolling.
I really love that.
Yeah, I really think Acute Bunny, unless we can see Jackson infinite combo here, I don't think that we're going to see. I don't think we'll be able to get through. There is a Nexus.
Yeah, Jackson did hit Nexus, is what I was about to say. And that is, that could be really interesting.
Yeah, if Jackson can burn through their whole library and just like loop Nexus with enough tokens out, they may eventually be able to. Well, I guess if they burn out their whole library, they can just cast Nexus infinitely with Saheeli, make infinite tokens, and win that way. It seems like a tall task here.
There are 2 E's on 0 too. That is true.
Yeah,
Interesting.
but Jackson has access to an insane amount of mana with all of these servos being able to tap for blue with Urza. So it feels like mana's not going to be the bottleneck here. It'll be all about how many cards can we spin into with Urza. So it looks like Jackson kind of setting up to optimize this equation. That's an interesting thought, Rulux, about cracking the bobble. It's possible that Jackson just feels like this game is not about what's going on Colton's side anymore, and so keeping every artifact on the table is the best way that Jackson has to just basically go through their library and combo out using Urza. So because Jackson's not going to get through, even if Colton makes some amount less zombies, 4 or even 6 less zombies, I don't think that's going to be the difference in this game. Interesting.
Ooh.
Okay.
Well, I think Jackson might be imagining a world where he's just not going to pass turn. If he he's not gonna. I don't think he's planning on passing the turn back to Colton at all. That's gonna blow up all year stuff as well. So the zero pop has happened.
Very interesting.
Okay.
So there will be another turn, but this construct token is like very small. Yeah, this was not the line that I was expecting on Jackson's side.
Spin the wheel. Here we go. That shuffling technique. Ugh.
Oof, ever-flowing chalice is not what you want to see if you're on Jackson's side.
Go to my next turn. Yeah. Now what? A Spy Master Thopter.
Yeah, again, this feels like less value than we could have gotten if we were utilizing the potential mana of all of the tokens available the previous turn.
Swing for lethal. Yeah, the construct is big enough.
Okay. So,
Oh wait, no. He thought Colton was at 6, so he was backed up from the combat there.
thought we had Xaxes, but
Now he's
the
doing math
Radiant
again.
Fountain really coming in handy here for Colton's side.
Yeah, sorry, I jumped to swing for lethal because that's what I heard Jackson say, but Jackson was also confused about the situation. So I do apologize for that. That was not a lethal swing.
So this is awkward because if Jackson had any constructs from previously, it's possible that
Oof.
Saheeli's.
That gets a trigger. That's interesting. And now swing for 8. Yep, you're dead.
Okay, so Jackson does find a line. Definitely not the line that I was thinking of to get there, but very creative, a very creative way to get there, and obviously like had this plan in mind when they started taking actions.
That was quite the game one. Wow. What a battle.
Yeah, this is a really fun match to watch.
Yeah, it's almost like the decks don't mind not interacting with each other, but I don't know. Maybe they like the engineered explosives back and forth was kind of like a lot of interaction to watch up there, but like they're both inherently trying to do their own thing. Jackson's trying to take infinite turns, and Colton's just trying to swing for trample lethal, and it's kind of interesting to watch them.
Yeah, I'm kind of surprised that Colton did not get their own engineered explosives. I was trying to think,
Oh yeah,
but
not even
that
back and forth.
but
The engineers were all
I
Jackson's
guess it
side.
wouldn't have made a well, Colton may have been able to neuter the turn that Jackson Nexused on. Make sure Jackson has like a lot less tokens to create blue mana before Jackson blew up all of the tokens himself.
Right.
But it still wouldn't have stopped the idea behind the line, as all the tokens got blown up on both sides in any case, and Colton would have lost their own tokens as well.
So, do you think that? Well, hold on. What was the turn that he blew it up for 0? Was that the same turn that he just ended up winning anyway?
It was in the Nexus, kind of the
Turn,
Nexus
right?
turn. Yeah,
So I wonder if that was even worthwhile, considering that Colton's. Well, oh yeah, because he had to clear the
yeah.
blockers for
He had
the
to clear all of Colton's
constructs.
zombies.
I
Yeah.
just, man, that game was just so wild.
Yeah, an absolutely enormous board state, and great job by Jackson, kind of keeping their eyes on the prize there, as far as what actually mattered with winning the game. We were a little bit nervous that Jackson decided to go to 1, but I think Jackson aware that that next turn was going to be the crux of the game, and Amulet Titan has no way to burn you out if you're at 1. So
Yeah, exactly. No
1 is
combat
essentially
tricks
the
to expect
same.
either, right? Like
Yeah.
no pumps. So yeah, no surprises. Going to 1 was fine. Calculated risk and got there. Though I guess the only thing was that he did come up a little bit short on his initial math. And that may have changed things from the get go, but he was very lucky to have hit artifacts off of the, or hit the second Sihili off the Urza to make another token just for Xaxes.
Right. And Cute Bunny, an interesting point that Titan could have bounced the life gain land once more. It would have meant quite a few less zombie tokens, which ultimately didn't matter, but it would have been very hard, I think, for Colton to have identified Jackson's line there and seen that that was actually going to be more impactful than just trying to present the maximal amount of blockers to keep Jackson from being able to get through on the ground with tokens.
Well, yeah, I don't know if this, because the lands came in off the Primeval Titan trigger, and the Radiant Fountain went back to hand, and you could have played Radiant Fountain the same turn and gotten the same amount of zombies, though, right?
Yes, I
I,
suppose on the final land play. So
yeah,
you'll only be able to bounce Radiant Fountain once because the whole deal with being able to kind of recur the bounce land is it triggers itself, right? So you're able to
right.
bounce it back and then replay it. So yeah, you could have. Oh man, it's so complicated. Yeah,
Yeah.
you could have as your last land drop for turn played the Radiant
Oh,
Fountain.
jeez. Here we go. Turbo Emery. Straight up miss, though, again. Wow. Gonna have to get an
I'm
artifact in the graveyard.
okay, so I'm very surprised to see this Nature's Claim out of Jackson. I feel like with all the engineered explosives, it feels like Jackson has a lot of answers for Amulet. Um, so yeah, that's a bit surprising to me.
Boggles piloted by Travis versus Izzet
Yeah,
Delver was round one. It was
yeah.
spicy.
And again, a pretty poor mill by Jackson this time around as well.
Oh, yeah.
Emery did not have a mill target to get back until we cracked the spell bomb.
Not hot.
But there are lines from here that Colton just wins on this turn. I think it's unlikely.
I wanna watch Paradoxical Outcome do something.
Okay, Colton's gonna fetch up a Summoner's Pact here.
Yep.
So it looks like Colton's probably aiming to go off this next turn. If Colton does have an Azusa in hand as well as another bounce land, we could accelerate up to 6 and swing in with the Titan as early as next turn. But Jackson also has enough mana to cast Urza here, so likely see Urza come down.
Yep. As predicted. Oh, right in response to the trigger, dismember. We're gonna give you no time at all, and that I love that.
Yeah.
Yeah, before this guy. Okay.
Yeah, Colton just making sure it's clear that Colton is responding to the construct trigger here. So that construct is not on the board, which is extremely important here because
It could have been an extra mana.
right, which in this case still would have only been 3, but had Jackson made it to 4 mana, it's a very easy way to protect your own Urza is to paradoxical outcome
Actually,
your Urza.
did have fourth mana. Ooh, no, still doing it. Still doing it. Emery is just that good.
This is really good. This paradoxical outcome will be really strong, but
Woof.
would have been even stronger if Jackson had been maybe ready for Colton's play and had the 4 up to bounce Urza in response to the dismember.
Yeah. Colton's one of the resident Titan players around here. I think there are a few others as well running around.
Yeah, yeah. I would say Colton is very consistently at the top tables with this deck and is extremely proficient and also just has really put in the time to learn a lot of the lines in the deck.
Absolutely.
So we can assume that Colton does not have an Azusa in hand or does not have a bounce land in hand, although I think we would have seen the Azusa. So it looks like, because if Colton had the Azusa, they could have played Azusa last turn, played a bounce land 3 times, accelerated up to 6 mana, and actually gotten the Titan out. So no Azusa for Colton. We'll likely see a Titan next turn out of Colton if this amulet survives. If I'm on Jackson's side, I'm putting a premium on getting this amulet off the board.
Yeah, but that Nature's Claim is in the in the graveyard. Here we go again. Looks like nothing new was added to the graveyard there. Mox Opal's already chilling, so
Gets in for 4. If I'm on Colton's side, I'm pretty happy with the current board state.
absolutely. It doesn't look like there's a lot of pressure right now. And Sahili has not even made a token yet, so
Yep.
it's a good spot.
And what are we going to bounce here? I think we'll probably see bounce
2,
the
4, 6,
forest.
8. Alright, so 2 mana floating on Colton's end.
And Colton's going to have to remember a pack trigger next turn. This
Yep.
Primeval Titan's cleared to go ham, so we'll see the Boris Garrison Slayer Stronghold. Those two will untap. We're going to give the Titan +2/+0 Vigilance and Haste. And then Colton will be able to attack, activate the Titan again. And what'll be interesting is to see what is Colton getting this second time around. I imagine that like Field of the Dead does not seem to be the most relevant card at this point, but that is kind of the generic late game for this Amulet Titan deck.
I like the attack on Saheeli. Like it a lot. Definitely got to disable Jackson while you can. Oh yeah, double strike land.
So yeah, grabbing Sunhome, which sets up well for next turn.
And bog you with Emery out. Oh, nice. Yeah, I'm super happy if I'm Jackson here. Like, or not, I mean Colton, rather.
Yeah, Jackson's left with very few resources left at this point. A swing for lethal with this Construct seems unlikely. It's currently just a 4/4.
And Primeval Titan is still up because it had Vigilance anyway, so he gets to hang out there.
Colton will have to pay down the pack next turn, so that should take both of those Simic Growth Chambers out for this next turn. However, there's still enough lands left to activate the Sunhome. So I believe our life totals should be... Okay, are we still at blocks?
No, Saheeli took damage.
Oh, right. Colton
Yep.
attacked Saheeli.
Yeah,
okay.
yeah. So Saheeli went down. And actually, Saheeli shouldn't be in exile because the bog trigger comes from...
Right, the bog trigger came before
that. In the
but I
attack
believe that
phase.
there's no way to recur Saheeli, so...
I might just run out there real quick.
Sure.
Just put it in the graveyard. Just...
It's Curran being the hero, going out fixing the board state. Keep it tight.
Just try and keep it tight around here, you know. All right. Yeah, both players definitely looked at me and were like, "I don't think that's relevant." And I'm like, "I'm okay."
I
mean, you're right, but
yeah, these games like this where players have so much on their minds and board states get so complex, it's very easy to forget something small like that. And you know, in some games, especially in Modern, with very few delve cards that are strong being available, it tends not to matter as much. But there certainly are formats where it would matter.
yeah. Yeah, I mean, if I saw a delve spell come out of Jackson, I would definitely laugh about it. Definitely have to put it back in his face, like, see, it was relevant. But, yeah, I don't think Paradoxical Urza is playing anything with delve.
So we're going to PO deciding how many we're Paradoxicaling for. I imagine it'll be at least 3. Okay, we're going to leave Emery there. Run back out some artifacts. Emery recur. The spell bomb. It's a tough spot to be if you're Jackson. Yeah, you can bounce a Titan. I guess you can keep the Titan off your back here.
Maybe the Titan player is playing Drown in the Lock. See, someone's on my side.
Right. It's true. It's possible. So Yeah, worth keeping the board state correct. So this is a tough spot for Colton in that that spell bomb is available, and because of how Colton had to tap their lands here for the Summoner's Pact from last turn, there's not really a lot of plays available to them this turn. It looks like they have another Titan in hand, but going to be unable to cast that.
And yeah, it looks
And
like Jackson just did that after the attack, and the trigger went off, and he just caught it himself that he probably should have done that before combat.
yeah, one of those lessons learned here that I think Jackson may have run into the previous game as well is bouncing before combat so that the Titan does not get the triggers.
It's okay.
A lot of the value of this Titan is in its search triggers.
Yeah, Colton's gonna make sure that the lesson is well learned by showing him Field of the Dead again.
Yeah. That said, Colton, it looks like is just now hitting seven land types. Yep. So we're at exactly 7 here, and we're going to bounce Simic Growth Chamber to hand.
That Titan not being castable is kind of painful, but you know.
Yeah.
Well, actually, no.
Okay, so we should be able to cast it
Yeah.
then. So, man, this is extremely punishing now because so not only because of the misstep of not bouncing the Titan um, pre-combat,
Was
Colton is now
huge.
able to both get the field to get zombies in play and cast the Titan this turn, which again floods the board with creatures. And it's possible that had that not gone off, Colton would have had an empty board, and Jackson may have just been able to get those construct tokens big enough to just swing for lethal this next turn. So, um, yeah, kind of insane how small even though this match has been kind of battle cruisery and has like a ton of complex decisions, one tiny misstep like that can make just a world of difference.
Yeah, you usually see tiny windows like that be relevant in formats like Legacy or Vintage all the time. But
Yeah.
in Modern, the windows typically tend to be bigger. But in this matchup,
Yeah.
yeah, it's crazy how small that window was and how it just got away from Jackson
Yeah.
because of it.
Extremely exploitable. So we see Colton going for another Titan again here. So we'll have another Summoner's Pact to pay for next turn. Um, I I would be a little disappointed if we don't see Colton try and get access to an engineered explosives.
Yeah.
Um, although I guess we're not going to have mana to activate it here anyway. Uh,
Gosh, that's just so many Titan triggers, though.
the other thing that I was thinking that maybe we could have seen from Colton is just trying to make it to a pact of negation here. So if Colton had, maybe that's not in the deck anymore. If although I would have kept it. If Colton could have gone for another, oh, we're maxed out, all of our Simic Growth Chambers are in play. So Colton is
Yeah.
just straight up unable to get the blue required to transmute the T-West to get a Pact of Negation this turn.
We got 7. 7 cards in hand. Back to Jackson here.
So one trigger results in 2 Titans, 9 zombies on the
Yeah.
battlefield.
Yeah, just one missed thing. And that is time and round, actually. Our clock was a little bit slow. Um,
So it looks like, let's see, do we see players? We'll go ahead and set it to turns once players set it to turns here.
yeah.
Sometimes we give them a touch extra time as they have to move to the feature match area. So if you're Jackson, you're I mean, you could try and win here, but you also could potentially get a draw if you can manage to survive for 5 turns.
Yeah, he could come out of this 1-0. It really depends on. Or you could just go off and try. Yeah, I'll be very interested to see how Jackson plays this out. How often do we actually get a match that starts on camera and goes to time? This is incredible, right?
Yeah, these late game interactive matches, it can definitely happen a decent amount of the time, but it definitely is a treat when you get kind of a sequence that has this many small decisions that matter.
Yeah.
It's a whole different ball game than watching Bogles against Is it Delver, that's for sure. Of just kind of like, it's just a different game that you're watching. You know?
Yeah.
Not by means of any sort of judgment.
Oh no. You're fine. You're fine.
Just different.
You're protected. We actually we laughed so hard at like the trash talking that went on. It was such a good rewatch.
Yeah, so we're gonna say we're turn 0 here.
Yeah, definitely. Any extra time Jackson has taken here already.
I mean, it's possible that Jackson could just make it through their whole deck enough to, if we can get a Nexus of Fate off here, then I feel like Jackson's just going to be unstoppable.
Yeah, but I mean, without the Saheeli making mana at literally every spell, it's definitely going to be a lot harder.
Well, we have a Sai.
Yeah, the side just came down,
Right.
which is going to change things
Yep.
significantly. I didn't even think about that for a second.
Yeah, it was just played, and I think that's why Jackson was holding up a lot of their 0-mana artifacts.
Makes sense. Needed to pay off before being able to continue.
I gotta be honest. I think Jackson's just got it here.
Yeah, I mean, it's been huge so far. So the constructs are huge, but they're still like a giant force in the way to get rid of.
Right.
I like the Wishclaw Talisman a
Yeah,
lot. That's gonna find
dirty.
Yeah, he's using it now. That's gonna find anything he wants. Nexus. And that's it. Colton's gonna scoop.
Yeah, so Nexus can just be cast, and then Jackson will take another turn, and the Thopters will swing for lethal. So Colton had no blockers in the air here. So that's how Jackson was planning on finishing off this game. What a fantastic set of matches to watch.
Yeah, the games were just incredible. And yeah, Jackson was just able to come out right in time both games and just like in the face of defeat just win the game instead.
Yeah, and it really felt like Colton had a board, like an unassailable board position, but it is just amazing what this Paradoxical Outcome deck can do in the late game. Okay, pairings, it looks like are getting
pairings
put up
just
for the
fired
next
up,
round
so
here,
yeah.
so we are going to be off for just probably 30 seconds getting the next match set up, and we will be right back.